All right, so today we are installing some ducting for the new dust collection system. All right, so I got all my parts and pieces knolled out here, laid out, ready to go. All right, so I'm gonna pre-assemble a few parts just to get going here. That way it's less cumbersome when I'm up in the air on the ladder. So the dust collector has an 8-inch port on it, so I'm gonna go from 8 to 6. All right, I love the vaulted ceiling when I want to swing a big board around, but when I want to screw something to the ceiling, not so much. It's been a long time since I worn the bags, but I think this is going to save me a whole bunch of times running up and down the ladder chasing down drop screws when I can just grab another one here. So there we go, still fits right underneath that. All right, I started it hanging a little bit low, a little loose, just so I could get something up in the air to get started. And now once I got it up here, I'm gonna start to work to position it and get the rest of the runs attached to it. All right, I was told that these are easy to install with this snap lock system. You just put the two together and you put that ring on there and it snaps them together. In my mind, this distance was a little bit wider. All right, and these adapters go on the cut end, and they telescope in and out to adjust the length. All right, now that I got some pipes anchored up here, it's a lot easier to get things clipped into place without so much struggle. Fuck me. All right, so now I just need to adjust these two and put a splicer piece in there, and we should have this main branch complete. All right, so this thing is my guilty pleasure, so I don't have to bend over with a dustpan to sweep up anymore. And some of you, I think, will be excited about this because you often comment on how messy my shop is. So hopefully this will help get it all cleaned up. So I think I'm gonna mount the blast gate with the flange up, so that way I can use the broom to sweep it open, sweep the stuff in there, and kick it back closed with the broom and never have to bend over ever again. All right, there we go, pre-assembled. This piece will go to the router table now. All right, so now that we have our ducting installed, let's do a little mini shop tour of our dust collection system. All right, so up top here we have a 5 horsepower motor running our Cyclone, and there is no getting away from the fact that that Cyclone is clear, so it is a Clearview Cyclone. And just because I have a Clearview Cyclone in my shop doesn't mean I endorse their product at all. I actually, if you've been following along, you know that I found it to be a poor build quality. So let's just move on to the rest of the system here. All right, so this particular model starts at an 8-inch port, and I split it down into 2 main branches. And this first branch goes along to something that I still need to finish, is a drop to my little CNC machine. I'm not huge on CNCing, so I have not hooked it up yet. And I need to 3D print some parts to make it attached to that particular CNC machine. So from there it goes along to 2 more drops, and 1 drop goes to my jointer and the other drop goes to my wide belt drum sander. All right, so the drum sander is on a mobile base, so I can just pick up this pad and it'll pivot out here right in this little area here, so I still have some nice cushion to stand on, and I have plenty of in-feed, out-feed room or space. And if I want to do something really wide and take full advantage of the 44 inches, this guy is on wheels. There's some wheels in the base, and I can just push it back to the end and have plenty of room to operate that guy. All right, so right behind the joiner I have my 12-inch disc sander, and I have it set up on this little cabinet that makes it just high enough for any kind of material to clear the fence of the joiner. So if I need to sand something, it's tucked right in there, huge space saver. All right, and then for a dust collection, it has a 4-inch port on it. And on the drum sander, I have the Rocklite quick release, so I can just swing it over here and hook it up and have dust collection right there using the same flex hose. All right, and then the joiner, of course, we just talked about. It has a drop right after the sanders, and it's blast gate right there. But from there, we go all the way along to this corner of the shop, and there's a little bit of a jog there. I'm sure that little jog is losing me some suction power, but I think it's worth it because I have room for all this other stuff here for storage. You can never have too much storage in a shop, but it comes on down here to this little bit of flex hose, 6-inch flex hose, and a blast gate there, and then that guy right there is just your standard HVAC ducting outlet. So it's just the perfect shape that I tucked in there, so when I'm running the saw, all the sawdust kicks right into that, and there's pretty good dust collection here at the radial arm saw. And then future me wants to have this line continue on underneath the miter station all the way over here to my Capex. And now, even though the Capex has probably the best dust collection out of any miter saw out there, it still creates a lot of dust that does not get sucked up, especially in some larger operations when you're cutting larger timbers or extreme angles. So as you can see, there's still a fair amount of sawdust that's getting accumulated back behind here. So if I had another blast gate coming into here to catch some of that sawdust in there, that would be ideal. All right, so if we go back to our split here, we have another main branch going off here, and I have 2 drops coming down. One drop has a split on it to go to the planer, and this is a 15-inch helical head planer. The other split goes down to the bandsaw. Then the second drop goes down to the lathe, which is back here. So I need to build a lathe stand, and then to the back of the table saw. Now, I did it this way instead of using one of those quad splitters or quad Ys, whatever you call these guys when there's 4 of them. And that's because on the last system I had, I did have one of those guys, and having 4 things split off on one spot really reduced the amount of dust collection. I think in these Ys and splitters, there's a lot of turbulence where you lose a lot of suction right here. All right, so those drops, like I said, service the table saw, bandsaw, planer, and those other tools back there. So ideally, we'd continue on all the way across to this wall and come down straight along the wall to the router table, but that impedes the amount of storage capacity for the lumber rack and also tool storage. So I opted to lose a little bit of suction to go back to this corner. So it turns and goes straight to this corner, and then it drops down the corner here all the way down a few feet off the ground, goes behind the plywood sheet goods rack to that dealy-mabob, and then to the router table. And I will say, even though there is a long extra run to the router table has fantastic suction, even so much so that when I'm routing a piece, the wood will get sucked to the surface of the plate of the router while I'm routing. So it has plenty of suction here, so I think I made a good move by running it to the corner to save my lumber rack storage space there. There's a couple other things I'd like to do in the future, like this drill press. It'd be cool to have some kind of stand behind it to at least sweep the chips into and have them get sucked up. So I might cut in here and put another drop in the future, but these dust collection parts are pretty expensive, so that will be for another day when I have extra cash and get tired of sweeping up around the drill press and things. All right, and that concludes our mini shop tour of the dust collection system. Thanks for watching.